Hello and welcome to the Writecome.com podcast, where we help you to make money from your words. Each episode will be sharing tips, tricks, and strategies you can use to make more money from your writing, publishing, and marketing to your fans and audience. Let's get started with your host, Barry J. McDonald.
Hi, this is Barry here, and you are very welcome to this podcast episode from Writecome.com. And today's podcast episode is entitled, You Can Dig a Hole with a Spoon. Now, what do I mean by all that? Well, I was dipping back into my old audiobooks, and I'd gone back to the one by Kevin Hart, The Decision. And one of the things he brought up was that you've got what you've got. Now, what he meant by that was, unfortunately, with social media, because social media gives us a kind of window into other people's lives, it's very easy to kind of get swept up in the green monster or go on this kind of comparison journey as you're going through the news feed, where you're comparing your life to everyone else's. Everyone else probably had a better Christmas than you have. Everyone else probably had better presents. They had a better tree. They have a better car, better house, better spouse, better families, and all those things. And unfortunately, sometimes it can be really, it probably is one of the reasons why social media is as depressing as it is because we get angry with ourselves. We kind of focus in ourselves, how little we have, how little we've done, and we put everybody else on a pedestal, and unfortunately we go the opposite way with ourselves. But as Kevin Hart says, you've got what you've got. Now, what he meant by that was that, there's no way that there's a few people that I follow on social media, some people who are a lot better looking than I am, who probably sound a lot better on a microphone, who probably can write a lot better than I can, and for me to spend my time focusing on them. Now, I'll be honest, I'm human like everybody else. I do probably get the green eyed monster sometimes when I do watch a great video and say, you know what, I would love to be in his position. I would love to have his following. I would love to have the looks he has. I would love to, come across as well as he has, or whatever he has, or she has, or whatever. I would love to be like them. And unfortunately, as Kevin Hart says, when you do kind of focus on other people like that, you kind of take your foot off the gas pedal. And as I said yesterday in my daily email, it's like we are almost like one of those people who are driving past a car crash. Now, you're probably well aware that, if there is ever a car crash on the highway or the motorway or whatever, the other lane and the other side will slow down because everybody is rubbernecking. They're slowing down just to get in the kind of as much gruesome detail as they can. They want to see what happened. Is anybody killed? Is anybody splattered all over the road? And unfortunately, we have a tendency to do that in moments like that. But when you are kind of taking your focus on your own life and having a look at everybody else, it's almost like you're rubbernecking. You're so distracted by what you're doing that you're not paying attention to your own life. And anybody who is in that slow crawling lane that is looking over to the other side probably stands a greater chance of either crashing their own car, crashing into somebody in front or behind, or just not paying attention to what you're doing. And that is what kind of social media is like, unfortunately. We are all kind of rubbernecking on other people's lives, wishing we were over there, wishing we had the followers, the looks, whatever it is that they have. And because we are doing that, we're taking our attention and our focus off our own lives. But as Kevin Hart says, you've got what you've got. Never will I be as attractive as some of the people I follow on social media. Never will I probably have the same thoughts or same ideas or write the same books as somebody else. Maybe I'll probably never have a podcast that will be as popular as other people. And that's something I'm just going to have to face up to. It's not like we have all kind of started on an equal plane. Everybody says, well, everybody has equal opportunities in this world, but unfortunately when you do kind of look at that under the microscope, that really doesn't stand up, in that some places or sometimes some of us have been dropped off in better locations than other people. Now, it's almost like one of those World War II movies where you have the huge airplane flying through the clouds and you have all these troops with the parachutes on, and you've somebody slapping them on the back and pushing them out the back of the plane, and as you watch all the parachutes come down, you will find some people maybe crash into trees, some people will crash into a river, some people might land in a nice soft grassy meadow. But a lot of us have come into this world in different locations, and as Kevin Hart says, you've got what you've got. You've got to build from where you are. You've got to speak from where you are. You've got to write from where you are. And wishing that you were in that kind of grassy meadow whereas maybe you'd had a bad start, maybe you had come from, a broken family, or you didn't have a great start. It's almost like you were kind of landed in that tree, and your first job is probably to get out of that tree, get down on the ground, and kind of make your way towards that grassy plain that the other person is probably on. And you may find that you're probably going to have to put a lot of effort into getting out of the tree, or climbing across rivers or whatever it is to get to that best spot. And a lot of your time in the early days, when you don't maybe have any talent, when you don't have any kind of belief in yourself, you're going to have to put a lot of work in, probably a lot more work than that other person who has had that cushy landing and has those God-given talents, the looks, the voice, or whatever it is. And you've got to work with what you have to work with. Now, as I said at the start of this podcast episode, the reason I entitled this podcast that you can dig a hole with a spoon is that unfortunately a lot of people just kind of throw up the hands up in the air and say, well, I'm never going to be as good looking as that person, so why should I be on Instagram? I'm never going to sound as well as that person on their podcast, and because of that I'm not going to do a podcast. Or I mightn't be as talented as a writer now, so why should I ever start trying to write? But as I said, you can dig a hole with a spoon, and even if you have a spoon at the moment and you haven't got a great many tools in your toolbox, that doesn't mean that you should give up. That doesn't mean that you can't build something, that you can't improve where you are. You can't improve on your talent, your experience, or what you're doing right now by kind of showing up regularly and working away with your little spoon or your little hammer or whatever handful of tools you have. You can make a big difference from where you are right now. So I want you to consider that today. Maybe if you are feeling a little bit sorry for yourself, maybe if you spent a lot of time on social media, you're paying too much attention to other people and the cushy lives that they have. And unfortunately, social media again too is a highlight reel of people's lives. You never hear anybody who is going to post an argument that they had with their spouse online today. They're not going to get that rejection slip maybe that they got from a publishing company. They're not going to put that out, or they're not going to put on their great big gas bill or something like that. They're always going to kind of pick and choose which are the best moments in their life, and those are the ones that they're going to put online. And for you to think that their life is like that every day, unfortunately a lot of us do kind of believe that way is the way, but unfortunately it's not, and we are deluding ourselves in thinking that person has that beautiful moment every moment with their spouse, or always has great moments with their cars, that every day they get out, turn the key, the car starts. But we never see the moments when maybe they've crashed their car, or the car doesn't start, or maybe they get a huge bill from the garage or whatever. We don't see those moments. So what I want you to do today, if you are maybe somebody who is spending a lot of time on social media, is to kind of look at their lives through that filter and keep saying to yourself, this is the best highlight reel that they are showing me. And even though I may never have the talent, the looks, or whatever that these people have, that doesn't mean that I can't work with what I have. So I want you to focus off what everybody else is doing. Stop rubbernecking on social media and start having a look at what is in your toolbox and focus on what you have. Yeah, you might have had a bad start from everybody else. You might be one of those people in the parachute who is right now hanging out of a tree and isn't even on the ground right now, but that doesn't mean that you can't work your way down to the ground. That doesn't mean that you can't walk across rivers or whatever it is to get to that greeny pasture. It may take a while, but you will get there eventually if you do keep heading in that direction or putting some effort into getting in that direction. So keep that in mind today. You may only have a spoon, but you can certainly dig a hole from where you are. So as always, I hope maybe I've helped somebody out today. If you'd like to know more about me, you're very, very welcome to reach out to barryjmcdonald@gmail.com, or if you'd like to head over to Writecom, if you would like to maybe write this year, if you want to get into fiction writing, low content books, or whatever it is, if you want to head over to Writecom, that's WRITECOME.com, and you will find the homepage has changed at the moment. At the moment we have 9 free reports that you can pick up over on the Writecom page, which have a lot of content, things like how to create fictional characters, how to sell more books, and how to write emails and how to stand out in the email inbox. So if you are in self-publishing and writing, if you think maybe some of those reports would really help you out, head over to Writecom right now and you can download them all for free. And as always, thanks for sharing your time again today. Take care and have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us today. If you'd like more from the Writecom.com podcast, be sure to subscribe now for more tips, tricks, and ideas you can use to make more money from your words. See you in the next episode.